She was checking to see how far it had gotten. That was the thought Maya couldn't shake, months after her grandmother's funeral, standing in a dusty bedroom with a water-stained notebook trembling in her hands. It was the thought that made her mother snatch the notebook away before Maya could read the last page. It was the thought that turned a fishing trip from years ago, mud-soaked shoes, a quiet kitchen, a man who wouldn't blink, into something she could no longer file away as a strange afternoon in a strange old house. It would take her a long time to understand that her grandmother had never once, in all those years, been trying to heal anybody. She had been trying to catch something before it finished catching up to them. Maya's family was Creole, deep in the bayou country of southern Louisiana, and her grandmother Odile was the kind of woman everyone in the parish knew by first name, and nobody quite dared to ask too many questions of. She wasn't the voodoo of movies. No dolls, no backyard sacrifices, nothing performed for effect. Odile grew her own herbs, prayed over sick babies, mixed washes and poultices from recipes older than the house she lived in, and treated things the local doctors either couldn't or wouldn't touch. She also believed firmly in hospitals and stitches and antibiotics. She was not a woman who turned away modern medicine. She was a woman who understood that some things fell outside of it. Kids were never allowed in the room when Odile was working. No one explained why. You simply learned, the way children learn things without being told, that you stayed in the hallway and you didn't ask twice. Maya was 14 the day she found out what working sometimes meant. It had rained all afternoon. Her cousin dropped her back at Odile's house after a long, wet, miserable day of fishing, her shoes ruined, her mood worse. There was an unfamiliar truck parked out front, which wasn't unusual. People were always coming and going from that house, but something about the property felt wrong before Maya even opened the door. The television wasn't on. Odile's house was never silent. There was always something playing. The evening news, gospel hymns humming low from the kitchen radio, even when nobody was watching or listening. The quiet hit Maya first, before she saw anything, and it made the hair rise on her arms for no reason she could name. She stepped in through the side door and found her grandmother in the kitchen with a man Maya had never seen before. He looked like he'd been dragged through the swamp. His shirt was torn at the shoulder, the fabric dark and stiff with dried blood. His hands were laced with cuts, deep enough that Maya's first thought was stitches. He needs stitches, and there was mud caked thick and black on his jeans and boots. Not garden mud, not yard mud, but the heavy, sucking mud of the deep water country, the kind that didn't wash off easy and didn't belong on a man sitting calmly at a kitchen table. Except Odile wasn't cleaning his wounds. She was searching him, checking his pulse for a long, long time, pulling down one eyelid, then the other, peering into his mouth, murmuring for him to look at her, and he wouldn't. He wouldn't look at her at all. That was the part that never left Maya. Not the blood, not the mud, not even the cuts. It was how still he was. He stared at the wall behind her grandmother's head and did not blink. Not once. In all the time, Maya stood frozen in that hallway watching. Tears slid down his face in steady, silent lines, but his expression never moved. He didn't sob. He didn't wipe his eyes. He simply leaked, the way a cracked pipe leaks, while he sat rigid and stared at nothing. Odile kept working over him, lips moving under her breath. Maya caught fragments. Prayer, she was almost sure, though not any prayer she recognized from church. And the strangest part, the part that only became strange years later, thinking back on it as an adult, Odile never asked him what happened, never asked where he'd been, what had attacked him, how he'd gotten those cuts. You would think that would be the first question anyone would ask a bleeding stranger in your kitchen. Odile already seemed to know she wouldn't like the answer. The silence in the kitchen finally broke when the man spoke, so quietly Maya nearly missed it. "I thought it was him," he said. "He looked like him." Odile went still. She didn't ask who he was. She didn't look confused or curious or afraid. She simply closed her eyes for a long moment, the way a person does when they've just been told something they were already dreading, and said, "I know." That was all. The man's breathing changed after that. Quick, shallow. A man fighting to keep from coming apart, but he never turned his head. He never blinked. Odile noticed Maya standing in the hallway then, and told her, in a voice so calm it was somehow worse than shouting, to go change out of her wet clothes before she tracked mud on the floor. Maya went. She sat in the back bedroom for what felt like an hour, listening to muffled movement she couldn't make sense of. By the time she came out for dinner, the truck was gone. There was no sign anyone had ever been there at all. She asked, that night, who the man was. Odile said only that he was somebody who needed help. When Maya pressed, what happened to him, what was wrong with him, her grandmother just smiled the smile she always used to close a door, and said Maya asked too many questions. Maya let it go, the way she always did. Children learned that too. She never saw the man again. No one ever spoke of him. Maya nearly forgot the entire afternoon, filed it away as one of the odd, unexplained things that happened around Odile, the way lightning happened, the way the tide came in. She forgot it completely until the notebook. They found it while clearing out the house, weeks after the funeral, in a drawer beneath decades of church bulletins and yellowed photographs. Most of Odile's notebooks were exactly what you'd expect. Recipes, herbal remedies, scripture, phone numbers for people long dead, notes on patients she'd treated over 60 years of quiet, unlicensed practice, fever, burn, baby won't sleep, infection, ordinary things, in a spidery, careful hand. This notebook was different. There were dates, spanning years, but almost no names, just short, clipped entries, written in the same steady hand as everything else, as if Odile had been recording something no more remarkable than a grocery list. Came in through the window, mimicked her mother's voice, found outside praying, kept asking to be let inside, didn't remember walking there, heard it from the water, smiled with his brother's face. Maya's hands had gone cold reading them. She didn't get further than that before her mother walked in, saw what she was holding, and took the notebook from her, with a speed that told Maya more than any explanation could have. "That's private," her mother said. "It belonged to your grandmother." Maya told her then about the man in the kitchen all those years ago, the cuts, the mud, the eyes that wouldn't blink. Her mother's face did something complicated, something that looked, for just a second, like recognition. Then it closed over, the same way Odile's had always closed over a question she didn't want answered. "You're probably remembering it wrong," she said. Maya asked what the notes meant. Her mother told her to leave it alone. Maya asked, specifically, what mimicked her mother's voice could possibly mean, and her mother's composure finally cracked, not into fear, but into something sharper, something almost protective. "Your grandmother spent her whole life helping people. You need to respect that." Maya hadn't been accusing anyone of anything. She only wanted an answer. She still doesn't have one. She tells herself there are ordinary explanations. Maybe the man in the kitchen was a person in crisis, sick or grieving, or in shock, and Odile only wrote down the strange things frightened people say when they're not in their right minds. Maybe the notebook was nothing but an old woman's private record of the odder cases she'd treated, half of them exaggerated in the telling, half of them lost entirely to time. What Maya cannot explain, no matter how many times she turns it over, is the look on her grandmother's face when the man said, "I thought it was him." He looked like him, the way Odile didn't ask a single follow-up question because she already understood exactly what he meant. The years of careful, dated notes about people who saw something wearing a face it had no right to wear. Things that came through windows, things that waited patiently to be invited in. And most of all, she cannot explain how calm her grandmother had been that whole rain-soaked afternoon in the kitchen. A calm that had nothing to do with treating a wound, and everything to do with a woman who had done this before, many times, and knew precisely what she was looking for. She hadn't been trying to find out what had happened to him. She'd been checking to see how far it had gotten,